maybe we'll see more legislation in the future to combat this avalanche.
If you see any change in gambling, I think the one thing you will see, crypto gambling will be legal. Crypto online gambling will be legal. I think during the Trump administration, I feel like that's a fairly safe bet. All right, here is the online gambling epidemic from Drew Gooden. Actually, I find this pretty interesting and also concerning. You know, you may or may not know that in the United States, gambling was illegal for a very long time in most places. Really only legal in Nevada and New Jersey, right? But in 2018, the Supreme Court legalized sports betting, which I actually do agree is, shouldn't be illegal. But also, they need some serious advertising restrictions on them, like cigarettes and alcohol do, because the ads are just everywhere. And if you're interested in sports at all to any degree, you know that gambling is involved. That's a big problem. Drew goes into it pretty well. I did pre-watch this, but I want to watch it on stream so I can give my thoughts. I feel like it intersects pretty well with the kind of stuff we talk about here. It's definitely an interesting story, kind of combined with it intersects not only with gambling, but also with live streaming and kick.com and all kinds of things. So, all right, let's kick it off. The Online Gambling Epidemic by Drew Gooden.
Birthday, I went on a Victory casino cruise, and not only did everyone get seasick almost immediately, but we also lost all the money we brought in to gamble with.
Yeah.
It was one of the best days of my life. For a good portion of the past century, getting on a boat that reeks of piss and wobbling your way out just far enough into the ocean so that laws don't exist anymore was one of the only ways to legally gamble in the United States. It had such a convoluted barrier of entry that
gambling
most people
is
could go
haram.
their entire lives without ever being tempted to do it. Just don't go to Nevada and you'll probably never see a casino. In 2024, this is no longer the case.
Only on FanDuel.
By the way, this had started to change prior to 2018. Pennsylvania and Maryland have become really big gambling states before even sports gambling came about. Casinos, I don't think have ever been illegal at the federal level. It's just the state level, whether or not it's legal.
Casino. In 2024, this is
live, legal, 38 states. Legal, not operational, 1 state. That's Missouri. Active, pre-filed legislation, 0. That's because they all passed them. No legislation in 2024. That doesn't necessarily mean dead legislation in 2020. Okay, this is all. Oh, this is legal sports betting, though. I didn't know it wasn't legal in California.
Is no longer the case.
Only on FanDuel. DraftKings. Bet MGM. Prize Picks.
Underdog.
Hard Rock Bet.
Belly Bet.
Points Bet.
ESPN Bet 365.
Smack me in the mouth with all of it.
If you watch any sports at all, ads for sports betting have become inescapable. Even if you muted every commercial and closed your eyes until the game came back on, it's still plastered everywhere.
By the way, even if you don't watch sports, man, I freaking listen to tech podcasts and I get FanDuel ads. There's so many of them. I'm sure they're on Twitch. Because actually, even though Twitch got rid of slots, they didn't get rid of sports betting. Which again, sports betting is one of those things where I'm just just gambling in general, is kind of predatory. I can see the argument more for sports betting and games of skill rather than games of chance. But at the end of the day, I don't really want any of it to be illegal because I just you should let people do what they want to do. But you should heavily regulate the advertising and the tactics that these casinos are allowed to do because, as Drew's going to mention, now that we have computers in our pockets that you can gamble on, they can figure out a lot about you. People are dumb, will always lose a few bucks they have. True, but again, yeah, which is why I don't want it to be illegal. It's the predatoriness of it, right? It's the VIP the VIP treatment that they give people so that they come in and spend tens of thousands of dollars and just lose it, the fact that a casino doesn't look that much different than a crack den if you go at a certain time. I went to a casino for the first time in 2023. I stayed at Harrah's in Atlantic City, and I gotta say I wasn't all that impressed. So much so that next time I went to Atlantic City, I just stayed in a regular hotel. Um, but like when I walk through the casino and it's like 3 in the morning, I'm just walking past to like I don't even know what I'm doing. It probably wasn't that late. It was I think maybe I was going to go get something to eat or something. I don't know. But and I'm walking through in the middle of the night, and these freaking gambling addicts are sitting there just like, tap, 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 tap. It's sad, man. It's sad.
Kings promos pop up in the middle of a play. There's BetMGM billboards behind home plate, FanDuel logos on the court, on the microphones. They come at you from every angle, pepper spraying you in the face so you don't notice they just pulled your pants down. They've made it so watching sports and betting on sports are just two sides of the same coin. Like you can't have one without the other. It's become so normalized that it might be easy to forget that gambling can be kind of bad, actually. About 10 million people in the US alone struggle with gambling in some way, a good portion of which are under the age of 25. Gambling addicts attempt suicide at a rate 15 times higher than the general population. The average debt of a gambling addict can range from $15,000 to $90,000. But where most people would see this as a problem, a few people saw it as an opportunity. All that
Yeah, I mean, it ruins families. It has the highest suicide rate of any addiction. And it's one of those things that your family may know nothing about, right? Like if you're a heroin addict, your family probably knows. Like, I guess maybe a pill addiction is easier to hide, but like if you're a heroin addict and you have any contact with your family, they probably know. You can be a completely secret gambling addict because you can just go into debt and just not let anybody see. It's really awful. It's so predatory.
that extra money that could be siphoned from struggling families and into the pockets of like 12 CEOs. And we're not doing that because... So in 2018, the Supreme Court overruled the federal ban on sports betting. And since then, Americans have collectively lost over $245 billion.
What I'm saying is, you're not going to end up in the hospital because of a gambling addiction. Yeah, families find out, but like people hide it. And I think because it's not like something that affects your day-to-day like ability to physically function, people might not notice. My dad's a gambling addict. He's always in a hole in the wall video arcade or casino blowing his pension. Yeah. I mean, if you're paying, like I said, a lot of people are able to hide it. Like a lot of people don't take shared responsibility of the finances. Just one person handles it. And the other person is just kind of oblivious, And so, yeah, that can happen. I've read a story, I think it was from ProPublica, about these social casinos. And these, I don't know if they're worse, but like you can't win, right? Like there's no money to be won. You're just like, you dump money into it for chips so you can play. And you can win chips, but you can't take money out of the app. And people have gone bankrupt on these apps. Like, it is very predatory.
$1,000 on it. That's almost $1,000
That's
per
a little
person,
different, but
and
it's
that
not that much
number was from last year. But the bombardment of playful advertising filled with famous celebrities would make you think it's just a harmless, fun game you can play on your phone. Kevin Hart, Post Malone, Chris Rock, LeBron James, Kevin Hart, Peyton Manning, Jamie Foxx, Eric
like
Andre,
Sharkbucks
Patton
GTA.
Oswalt, Vanessa Hudgens, the guy from that Kendrick Lamar song, Kevin Hart. Even the Talk Tua podcast is sponsored by Better. Why is it always the
Yeah,
people?
of course she is. Look, I respect the hustle of Haley Haktua last name, but maybe not the betting stuff. Maybe.
Will you trust the most?
You don't need to know everything about every sport.
Good, because I don't.
Yeah, me either. All you need is a feeling and a phone.
That is such a bold way to advertise your product. You don't have to know anything about sports in order to bet on them. In fact, we would prefer you didn't. Look, this guy's just chilling in a hot tub. He doesn't even know what sport he bet on, and he won money. So go ahead, just open the app and start mashing buttons. I don't know, like, where do you think they got all the money to shell out to these celebrities? Could it be that maybe Prize Picks isn't the secret gateway to riches beyond?
She should have named her podcast, though, Talk to Ya, right? Because it still rhymes, but it also makes sense and doesn't completely rely on the blowjob meme that everyone knows you for. But I don't know. I mean, maybe, like, hey, own it, man. Like, do what works. I still think talk to ya is a better pun, though.
On my wildest imaginations, and maybe they're
It
just
could
trying to
even
get
be
my
like, it could even be written like talk to ya. People might think it's talk to ya. Talk to ya. Yeah, I don't know.
debit card number so they can take all my disposable income. Whether or not you think sports betting should be illegal, and I'm not even necessarily saying it should be, the fact that they're allowed to advertise it like this is fucking insane.
Look, at the end of the day, FanDuel's not going to come and break your legs, right? So I actually think it should be legal, right? Because that's probably better than it going underground, right? Because it's going to happen. Like, there's always been sports betting. There will never not be sports betting. And it being underground makes it way more prone to being set up and violent. And yeah, so it's just like with prohibition of drugs, I don't think that making it illegal is a good idea. It just creates a whole unregulated industry where there are workers who don't get fair labor protection. So, it should be legal. The thing that they need to limit them on is their advertising and their tactics for getting people addicted. Because you can run a profitable casino without doing those things, I think. It's just, under capitalism, the natural incentive is just going to be fuck over your patrons as much as possible and squeeze them for every penny they've got.
Insane. Imagine a cigarette commercial that was like, "Oh my god, this is so good. This is the best I've ever felt."
Cigarette companies are literally not allowed to advertise.
Typically, the only tobacco ads you see are like anti-vaping PSAs. And I hope there's a future where advertising for betting apps is regulated in a similar.
Yeah, so cigarette ads are illegal. And I'm actually going to show you a worse one than the Joe Camel. Yeah, Fred Flintstone sold Winston cigarettes.
They sure work hard, don't they, Barney? Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard. Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them. Gee, we ought to do something, Fred. Okay. How's about taking a nap? I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break. That's it. Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend. Yeah, Fred. Filter blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed for good flavor in filter smoking. Yeah, Barney, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should. The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Yeah, that was a thing that existed. So, I think every company that sells a potentially harmful product has probably set up the tobacco lawsuits, or they probably have the tobacco lawsuits in the back of their mind as like the worst thing that can happen to you, right? Because what happened is after the cigarette companies were successfully sued,
Similar way.
they got a bunch of like court orders imposed on them, and then governments felt more comfortable regulating them and things like that, and they really got reined in. And ever since then, like, I think social media companies have really taken note, online gaming companies, where you're gaming for hours and hours and hours on end, and yeah, casinos have kind of taken like a really aggressive position against, regulation because of what happened to the cigarette industry. And, because if we live in capitalism, like, the government's purchasable. So
You can
That's
still
what
bet
they've
on
done.
sports. You can still smoke cigarettes if you want to. It's not illegal, but you're not bombarded with the temptation to do it every time you turn on a basketball game. Even though it's only been 6 years since the federal ban on sportsbooks was overturned, technology has already evolved well beyond what was available at the time. And now that gambling has gone from being in a place you have to go to do it, to being accessible on your phone at any moment, there's nothing stopping these apps from trying to lure you in constantly, and they're really good at doing that.
Addiction is intensified, he says, by how much the gambling companies know about each user. That data was used to tailor offers and push notifications to keep the guy in action.
They knew the life stage, the customer life stage it was at, so win back, they described it. So people that have given up gambling for a while and they're trying to get them to come back.
Just by using these apps, you're giving them data about your gambling habits, which they can then weaponize against you. If they realize around 2 p.m. every Sunday is when you're most likely to interact with the app because you're watching 19 games at once and you're starting to get a little restless, they can tailor make a push notification just for you. Maybe they'll boost the odds of a third quarter Tyreek Hill touchdown, or they'll show you a parlay that 50,000 other people have bet on, and that many people can't all be wrong. Let's talk about parlays for a second, because I think that's one of the biggest contributors to the exponential rise of sports betting.
It's parlay time.
Put simply, a parlay is when you combine multiple bets into one bet, significantly decreasing the odds of it hitting, but massively boosting the payout you'll win if it does. It's basically the difference between winning a few dollars for correctly calling one coin flip, or winning thousands of dollars if you can get that coin to land on heads 12 times in a row. You're so distracted by the possibility of how much you could win that you're not even considering the fact that you definitely won't. Parlays are the lottery ticket of sports betting, and these apps have made it so easy to make one whenever you want. The only
Do you
thing-
guys remember like How I Met Your Mother? And they did an episode on Barney's betting problem, and he was like betting on every little thing. That's what this is. That's what these parlays are. The only gamba I want is the game corner in Pokemon. They stole my slots. How am I going to get Porygon now? Yeah, like it's funny because like there are stuff like Genshin is another example. I think Genshin is probably Genshin and other gacha games, you know, are another example. And there's a whole range of how bad the tactics are. Something I've particularly noticed with Hoyoverse games, which just make them less fun to play, is all the different ways of upgrading your character and how confusing and complicated it is. And it's just to keep you in the app longer, or to, I mean, you can't purchase everything, but there's definitely things you can purchase to make your life a little easier in that game, and I don't really like that. All of Hoyoverse's games would be infinitely better if they didn't have the gacha aspect to it, or if they toned it down a little bit. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think they're being like as predatory as like that fish casino, you know? Casinos and gambling are like a perfect example of something that looks really cool from far away, but then when you get up to it, you realize it's just a piece of shit, you know? Like, how fancy does a casino seem from the outside or even at first glance? And then you get in there, you start smelling the cigarettes, and you start seeing the people slumped over the table, and you're just like, oh, yeah, no. Or like you see these big fancy slot machine games. They look amazing. They look like huge, awesome arcade machines. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. They just spin. They do not do anything but spin. But they look like fucking gaming rigs, you know? And there's like 500 of them.
Stopping you from putting together a parlay that frankly doesn't even make sense is your own imagination. Because of parlays, I think for a lot of people, gambling has become death by 1,000 paper cuts. Maybe instead of losing a lot of money all at once, you're just losing a little bit of money all the time. Sometimes you'll even lose money in a way that feels like you almost won. 5 out of 6, I was so close. But that means I'll definitely win next time. My only personal experience with online sports betting was a couple years ago when I saw Underdog Fantasy was offering to match your first deposit up to $100. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. I watch a lot of football. Maybe I can finally make back some of the money I've spent over the years supporting my stupid, shitty team. So I put in $100. They doubled it. And slowly over the course of the next 2 months, I lost $25 every week until it was all gone. Now, if I'm being honest, I think this was actually best case scenario for me. I consider myself lucky that the few times I've tried gambling, it hasn't gone well for me because I have no positive association with it. In the same way that I have no desire to smoke cigarettes because the first time I did, I smoked 2 back-to-back for some reason and was nauseous the rest of the night. I have no desire to gamble because I've only ever
I think
lost
you lucked
money
out there,
doing it.
man.
So even though Underdog managed to get $100 out of me, I actually think they would have preferred if I won a little bit first. When betting apps give out these kind of introductory offers, it's not just so they can get a bunch of free money, although that's definitely part of it.
If this is not clear to you yet, think about like a stupid Dare PSA or a stupid TV after school special where someone's trying to sell someone drugs, or just anything where the drug dealer is giving someone their first taste. They always say what? First one is free, right? And it is the same thing with gambling. First one's free. Match you up to $100. Maybe we increase the odds of you winning that first time so it seems like it's more of a normal thing. Then we got you. That's how it works.
Trying to create a customer for life.
Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. $5 get $200 back. $250 to $500.
First one's free.
Online sportsbooks know that the best way to get people addicted to their product is to make that first big win as easy as possible. So they'll lure you in with an offer that seems too good to be true because all of that is pennies compared to what they're raking in from the people who are hooked. They give you free money to start with. They'll let you try again if your first bet doesn't work.
In gotcha games too, who's more likely to pull that 5-star character on, their 7th pull of the day? Someone who just started or someone who has been playing every day? No, you've been playing every day, man. We got you already. Returning players, you get shit. New players, you get shit. People who've been playing all the time because we got you addicted, yeah, you don't get shit. Give us money. Give us money.
They'll let you throw in one leg of a parlay that has essentially a 100% chance of hitting. They are desperate to make sure you have a good time. They want every time you see that app icon on your phone to think about the rush you felt when you turned $5 into $100. So you keep.
I love Genshin Impact. I think Genshin Impact is a really, really fun game. I love that other one, Zenless Zone Zero. Love it. Both games would be infinitely better, and I'd probably still play them if they weren't so overly complicated to get people to pay money for the gacha stuff. Yes, they look great. They are, in general, pretty good games, especially the combat is especially fun. It's just like, I mean, I can show you later maybe if we feel like playing, but like, you know how in a lot of games, like, yeah, there's skill trees or there's levels or there's experience. Yeah, in fucking Hoyoverse games, there's like 7 different kinds of each. It's like, you may not even know about a certain type of progression, right? People addicted to number go up should play incremental games instead. Yeah, probably. And multiple currencies, yeah, that shit should be illegal. I don't like that. And it's true, you can earn every currency in the game. Like I said, Hoyoverse is not the worst actor here. I actually think if it's going to exist, it should be, like that. But I still think there's probably stuff that you got to walk a very fine line, And there's just no denying that it would be an infinitely better game if it weren't a gacha game. That's it. Like, it would just be a better game if it weren't for its economic model. And that kind of sucks. Something you can do to help yourself out, which I think is a great addition, because it is a free game. They have to monetize somehow. You can do a subscription. And it's $5 a month. But all that gets you is some extra currency. You get some bonus currency up front, and then you get like a daily allowance, but you only get that allowance if you log in that day. Which, that's okay. That's cool. That's fine. Like I said, you could enjoy it without engaging with the gacha aspect too much, but like it does affect your experience, and it does kind of make it worse. They added those kind of gacha elements in Phantasy Star Online 2. Actual scratchers as a mechanic. Yeah. Again, like it's mostly the excess where it gets to be a problem. And again, it's like we have rules for this when it comes to gambling. We need more rules for this when it comes to video games and, online gambling.
Chasing that feeling forever. I just managed to outsmart them by being so unbelievably bad at sports betting that I never even came close to winning. But because I was curious to see how much online sports gambling has evolved since I tried it a couple years ago, and because I would never leave a stone unturned in the pursuit of research, I decided for this video I should try it one more time. So I signed up for the only legal sports book in my home state of Florida, which I assume is named after famous internet sex symbol Hard Rock Nick.
Balls tugged on one by one.
Their introductory offer is
That's
that
a
they'll
deep
give you
cut.
another chance to bet if your first one doesn't win. On the surface, that almost sounds like free money, but it's not like you can bet once, lose, and then just take your money back. You still have to give them the money. You're probably just gonna lose twice for the price of one. But hey, check this out. I've already unlocked a 1x multiplier, which means for every dollar I earn, I walk away with $1.
I spent the next 12 minutes hard at work concocting the
They
smart
give you like a less than 1 multiplier. It's just like, oh, you got a 0.5 multiplier. Congratulations. It's like, wait, what?
hardest and most guaranteed parlays the world has ever seen. With all my bets placed, I could finally sit back, relax, and enjoy a stress-free Sunday afternoon.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Why did I bet on Sam Darnold? Why did I bet on Kirk Cousins? Why did I take the over on Curtis Martin rushing yards? He retired in 2007.
The next few hours felt like a roller coaster, but in spite of it all, I was determined to come out on top.
Guess who has 2 thumbs and just won $9.52? This guy. My other thumb's holding the phone.
I was down, but now I'm up.
And since I only lost 5 other bets, I was just $61 from breaking even.
Now I know what you're thinking, Drew. How could you have possibly known the Bills were going to beat a team significantly worse than them? What are you, some kind of genius? No. I prefer savant. The truth is, none of this would have been possible without my good luck charm, Michael McCorkle Jones. You can look it up, that's his real name. Ever since I saw him hit the gritty at the Pro Bowl a few years ago, I knew I needed a metal poster of him to hang up on my wall. And thanks to today's sponsor, Displate, that's finally possible. Are you tired of waking up to your boring, empty walls? You try to hang up posters, but your hammer didn't come with instructions, so you don't know how to use it. Well, why don't you go ahead and throw that thing in the trash? Because you don't need one to hang up a display. Displays are high-quality metal posters that help you show off all your favorite interests, whether it's Elden Ring, Halo 3, or a Minion from the movie Minions. And the best part is you can hang them up in a matter of seconds without any tools and without putting any holes in your walls. Displate has over 2 million artworks to choose from, including tons of officially licensed designs from brands like Marvel, Star Wars, and Minions from the movie Minions. They've even got a product called Textra that brings your posters to life with tactile textures and 3D contours. Finally, a poster that's fun to touch. If you've been procrastinating your holiday shopping, there's never been a better time to snag a display. Not only are they great gifts for anyone in your life, but they're celebrating Black Friday with their biggest discount of the year. You can get up to 44% off your order by going to the link in the description, display.com/Drew Gooden, or by using my code Drew at checkout. Thank you so much to Displate for sponsoring today's video, which unfortunately will now continue. All right, so I've been using this app for a little over a week now, and even though I did win a few more bets, all I've really managed to do is turn my initial $100 into 0. It's all gone. I think they know they're on the verge of losing me for good because they're really ramping up the notifications. Most days I'm getting at least 1 every hour. They even offered me another second chance bet, this time up to $500. They are so confident based on everything I've shown them so far that it seems they're willing to give me any amount of money because it doesn't matter, I'm just going to lose it all anyway. Even in my very limited time using this app, I can already see the traps they're setting for me, and I am falling for them. For some reason, I've done multiple parlays that are contingent upon something happening at the beginning of a game. They offer a bunch of bets that are based on first quarter stats, and I realized firsthand why they do this. Because that one leg can cook your entire parlay immediately. But at that point, you've already committed to betting on this game, and there's so much more game to bet on. So you do. And before you know it, you're betting on Keyshawn George to make 5 threes? Why did I do that? I don't even know who that is. Why did
Wait. So like you lose early and then you can make more parlay bets? Is that what it is? Because like if something happens early or something doesn't happen early in the game, it cooks your parlay. You lose that $10. Then you bet another $10 on another parlay, but that one gets cooked early. So then you do it again, right? That's what I think is happening here. God, that is so diabolical.
I think Jake Paul was gonna knock out Mike Tyson. That fight was never ending in a knockout. They punched each other like 4 times. Obviously, they were just in it for the money, and I knew that going into it.
See, I don't think they were in it for the money. I think they just wanted to hug each other. It's a very sweet story about two men facing their toxic masculinity together.
Did this bet because they boosted my odds, and they only boosted my odds because they knew it wasn't going to happen anyway. It's 2024. How am I still getting scammed by Jake Paul? And on the flip side, when I do win a bet, sometimes I'm not even that happy about it because I'm just like, I should have bet more. You start getting carried away doing the math. I turned $10 into $30, but I could have turned 100 into 300, 1,000 into 3,000. Oh my God. It's infinite money. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things about gambling is that sometimes it works. It's a hobby that technically could go well for you if you get very lucky and quit at the exact right time, which you won't, and the casinos are banking on the fact that you won't. Problem gamblers aren't just chasing a feeling, they're chasing this idea that maybe they'll win the lottery. A lot of gamblers can recognize that they have a problem, but see the problem as the way out of the problem.
I think the feeling at the time was if you can just get lucky here somewhere, then potentially there's a way of making this.
God, and all I can say is if you're in this situation, tell somebody, because you have no idea the kind of perspective you'll get from somebody else. Tell somebody you trust. Tell somebody who's close to you. Just tell them you have a problem. Even if you have no idea how you're going to fix it, just be like, look, I have this problem. Because often, like, when you're the one stuck in a problem, you have no fucking clue, right? There are things you can't see. Tell someone you trust, preferably actually a therapist, someone neutral, but like tell somebody you trust, because that's the hardest part, is just being alone with it and just feeling like you're just completely trapped. And I know it sounds like I'm talking from personal experience because I am, but it's not about gambling, it's about alcohol. But just like recognizing the problem, telling somebody is actually an incredibly helpful step. I think one of the reasons people get into gambling is because they don't instinctively see themselves as part of a population. They see themselves as uniquely special individuals. Yeah, and I'll tell you that, like, something that's kind of interesting about the internet is, like, oftentimes we do think we are having unique thoughts. And then people on the internet, then you see someone on the internet saying the same thing and you're like, whoa. And then you realize, oh, actually a lot of people think that. It's very common in comedy, like good comedians, being relatable. Like we've all thought, like, what if the color I think is blue is not what you think is blue, because like there's some, like every human being in the world has thought that, right? But you think you're like being so deep when you think of that the first time. You know what I mean?
Away. I suppose the flip side to that as well, Aaron, is it was enabling me to just gamble as much as I wanted as well.
If I just have one good day, I can win it all back. Yes, I've dug this huge hole for myself.
I've definitely never seen myself as
I might be able to
as like lucky in a specific situation sense, like I don't win raffles, like if it's a less than 50% chance of something, like I'm probably not going to get whatever it is. But like obviously in general, I've, been very lucky in my life. But I think that's one of the reasons I don't get into gambling, is just because like they're like, what, am I going to win $1 million? No way.
find that diamond I've been desperately searching for. But the sad reality is, even if you find the diamond, you're just gonna feel so good doing it that you'll probably dive right back into the mines looking for another one.
The truth is, if I'd have had that big win, I would have just spent it anyway.
A lot of the higher-ups at these companies will refuse any responsibility for creating new gambling addicts over the past few years. They'll make the argument that they're just addicted to their phone, and our app just happens to be on it.
I don't believe that there is an addiction to mobile betting any more than there is an addiction to utilization of your phone for...
Dude, this is gambling Matt Miller. Look at this man's face as he tells us that gambling on your phone means that if you get addicted to it, it's because you're addicted to your phone and not to gambling. Listen to what this man says. Try not to focus on how much you want to punch him in the face, and try to listen to the ridiculous statement he's saying also.
phone, and our app just happens to be on it.
I don't believe that there is an addiction to mobile betting any more than there is an addiction to utilization of your phone for any other reason.
You don't think adding a
I would say, how can you say that with a straight face? But he doesn't have a straight face. He's literally smirking as he's lying on 60 Minutes. Like, what? They see one jackpot and think that'll be me and ignore the throngs of losers, further ignoring the fact that casino continues to exist because there are basically no jackpots, right?
layer of betting makes the phone more addictive than just tooling around Instagram?
No. There is problem gambling. It is a real problem. Whether it's gotten bigger.
And it's made me very rich. Look at this. How is this man a spokesman? He's so obviously evil. I'm sorry. This is Mr. Moneybags from like a cartoon. This is Herbert von Richmond or something. This is a rich man north of Richmond.
Or it's just become more noticeable because sports betting is legal, I think is an unknown.
Really?
Hey, they'd be gambling anyway, whether it's on our app that sends 30 push notifications a day and is linked to their bank account, or only available in a state on the other side of the country, is totally irrelevant. And while there are obviously some people for whom that is true, you cannot deny the fact that making it so goddamn easy to bet anything at any time is leading to more people gambling who wouldn't have otherwise. You're dangling a piece of candy inches away from people's faces and then saying, hey, it's not our fault they grabbed it. They still would have grabbed it even if it was 2,000 miles away. Since this is all still relatively new in the US, maybe we'll see more legislation in the future to combat this avalanche.
Maybe at the state level. The problem is there's way too much money sloshing around this. And in a country where there's very little rules about money and politics, like I don't see this changing anytime soon. And it's particularly with the incoming administration. If you see any change in gambling, I think the one thing you will see is stake will be legal. Crypto gambling will be legal. Crypto online gambling will be legal. I think during the Trump administration, I feel like that's a fairly safe bet.
Or they've banned the ads from appearing during sporting events altogether. America is still in this Wild West infancy where all these apps are just scrambling to find a way onto your phone before regulations start kicking in. But maybe in the future? Nah, I'm going to be honest. It's hard
North
to
American
imagine that
scam zone.
happening. I think it's too late to put the toothpaste...
Hey, Train could finally return to America, though. Bring Train home!
Back in the tube. The leagues are making too much money off it already. Of course they want to shove betting apps down everyone's throats. It gives people more of a reason to watch the games, especially bad ones. While most people would turn off a 20-point blowout in the fourth quarter, you're still glued to the screen because you need CeeDee Lamb to get 12 more yards for your parlay to hit. They've figured out a way to make every moment matter, even if it doesn't.
You want to make every game interesting? Step one, open the BetMGM Sportsbook. You know what to do.
It's not just sports, though. It seems like these days you can gamble on absolutely anything. You can bet on celebrity breakups. You can bet on which White Lotus character will return in season 3. You can bet on the presidential election. And oh my God, so many people did. Hundreds of millions of dollars were tied up in political bets this year. And if that's not indicative of a nationwide gambling epidemic, I don't know what is. But I'll admit, I'm a little conflicted about this. Because on one hand, gamifying every aspect of our lives only gives...
I don't know anything about sports. I fancy myself somewhat of a knowledgeable person on politics, but I would never fucking bet on a presidential election.
More power to those with influence. It creates a financial incentive for spreading deliberate misinformation. It can make you question the motive behind everything you see and hear. But on the other hand, XQC lost $700,000 betting on the election, and that's really funny. If you don't know who...
He works for Stake, though. Like, he got $100 million from Kick, which is owned by Stake, and he placed his presidential bets on Stake. So, like, I don't know, man. They're probably not happy that he lost because, like, that's bad for the app, probably. But, like, I'm very skeptical of XQC having lost anything on the presidential election.
XQC is, he's a streamer who, at least in every clip I've seen of him, seems to be speaking a language he invented and no one else can understand.
That is true. I do want to learn how to speak XQC.
He's also one of the many streamers who've massively increased their wealth over the past few years by taking sponsorships from offshore crypto-based online casinos, helping them and the website they stream it on explode in popularity. At almost any point of any day, you can go to the slots tab on kick.com and see someone who is zonked out of their mind. Eyes bloodshot red, 12 hours.
This is what the boomers look like on the casino floor. I've seen that look. Yeah, this sucks too, because like, I also know that there's been problems with these crypto companies where like it's very, very easy to put money in. So if you don't know, crypto gambling is illegal in the United States. However, VPNs exist. So, and crypto is decentralized. So it turns out it's very easy to put your money into these casinos. And, for a while, it was probably not that hard to take it out either. But what happened when governments started noticing all this untaxed money? Or what happens when the United States starts to get pissed that, you're illegally offering betting services to their citizens, and they crack down on you? Well, then you start doing verification of where people live. And you only do it when people want to take their money out rather than when people want to put their money in. So you can put your money in, you live in California where it's illegal, and then you want to take your money out and they're like, oh, we need an address for compliance. Oh, your address is in California? Yeah, that's illegal. Sorry. All your winnings are illegal. Goodbye. Theoretically.
To non-stop slot spins, desperately trying to win back all the money they've lost so far, oftentimes in a situation so dire that even the chat, with no personal stakes involved and
he's doing 320 a bet, he's just clicking.
Only there for entertainment.
Oh man, stop spinning, just leave now, bro. Leave, bro, leave, take a break, bro. Stop, you're about to go to zero.
Is begging them to stop, but they can't. They're on autopilot. Every loss is money that needs to be won back, and every win is just more money to gamble with. I randomly opened this guy's stream one day and watched in real time as he won almost $100,000.
Zoning out can be nice when you're not losing money every second.
95K, that's fucking huge. We're a tenth of the way back.
A tenth? This dude was down $1 million on Big Bass Bash? Now, to most people watching, it's pretty easy to say, hey man, you should probably quit while you're ahead. No, 100,000 isn't $1 million, but it's a lot more than zero. The problem is someone in this state of mind isn't capable of seeing it that way. He's not even in Thursday afternoon with the rest of us. He's still on the tail end of Wednesday night. So the rational part of his brain, too subdued to muster anything more than a mumble, asks his chat if he should end it there.
Should we up the bet or leave?
They all scream, of course you should, but it falls on deaf ears. He's yet to stop spamming spins for even a second. This man is no longer in control of his actions. He's a zombie, relegated to the passenger seat of his own mind as it careens towards the conclusion.
Why does it look like it's barely spinning?
Knows is inevitable, but there's nothing he can do to stop the momentum.
I have to quit at a certain point. I have to give up. At a certain point, I gotta
Jesus.
give up. Oh my god! At a certain point, I gotta give up. Dude, that dog demolished the balance. Oh my god. That's crazy.
Imagine meeting a date and having to explain your job is losing $1 million in a funny fish game.
All he can do now is sit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think these guys go on that many dates. But Drew's about to get to a really interesting point about this particular guy. And, it's really the people that you don't see having a problem that are, the most concerning. Someone get that man a copy of Monster Hunter. Yeah, I know, right? That's the other thing. It's just like, these games are fun. If you're going to lose money on a game, can it at least be fun? Like, the games aren't fun at all. Like, even arcade games are more fun than this. Like, I don't get it. I think probably because it takes too long, maybe? I don't know.
The reality of what just happened.
What the fuck? Beautiful girl. Dude.
come to terms with the fact that despite his and everyone else's better judgment, he got doghoused.
Doghouse is what did it. Dude, doghouse is what defeated me. I got doghouse. I got doghouse. I got a full doghouse. Full doghouse, dude. Full doghouse. Full fucking doghouse, dude. Dude. I got doghouse.
Do you see his wall demolished behind him, too? Can you imagine if every time, like, a Nazi came in here or something, I just, like, punched the wall? Doghouse. Yeah, I know, right? Oh my God.
Did I just watch this guy ruin his life?
I don't know, actually. The thing is, it's hard to take streams like this at face value. There's a very well-documented history of streamers on Kick high-stakes gambling.
He's getting to the thing that I mentioned.
With money that was given to them by the website they're playing on. So not only are the stakes not high, but it's technically not even gambling. It's just promotion. The entire goal of these streams is just to make the people watching them think they too can go win life-changing money on asscoin.com. So maybe this is all bullshit. Maybe the only real thing about these streams are the holes he punched into the wall behind him. Maybe he'll miraculously be back in a couple days with a suspiciously large balance after seeming to lose everything. But clips like this are just the flip side of an online ecosystem currently doing everything it can to convince impressionable teenagers scrolling through TikTok and YouTube shorts that gambling is awesome, actually, and you gotta start doing it.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Bang, 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 bang.
That's a great feeling, man.
Now, some people have accused these websites of rigging
Gross.
the odds in favor of the streamers, so it's easier for them to farm these clips. And as far as I'm aware, there's no proof of that. I think the misrepresentation of odds here is simply due to the fact that these websites can just keep depositing money into their accounts whenever they lose.
There was a guy who a YouTuber did a video on who kept winning the lottery. And people were like, whoa, this is crazy. This guy's so lucky he keeps winning the lottery. Except the thing is, he was spending tens of millions of dollars on lottery tickets, and that's why he kept fucking winning. But he was in the hole, obviously, because that's how that works. Yeah, you probably can win if you keep playing long enough, but, like, you're not going to come out on top, man. You can win $10 million, sure. You spent 20, so you're still in the hole, bud.
Giving them unlimited funds to play with.
Unless Rubet's gonna give me free money, I think that's like actually.
But if someone's giving you money, the gambling company, then it's pretty easy to make it look like an easy win. Buy one of every ticket. Easy, yeah. Buy a ticket for every number that exists, and you'll win. You will win.
Really?
I think you'd have to spend more money than currently exists in the world, but you'll win.
Howie to give us a ton of free money.
If you're given infinite money, you can just keep betting until you hit a jackpot. For them, there's no...
Because it's all on paper. It's all just digital. It's not even real money. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, you know, especially, like, I don't know if these streamers are probably being paid directly, and then they... I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything. But I'm just saying, like, their Roulette or stake account balance has nothing to do with how much they're getting paid or how much money they have, right? Because it's just not, it's a separate thing that the company just keeps giving you money for.
Such thing as rock bottom, a philosophy that very much does not translate to real life. In real life, you can hit rock bottom, and when you do, there's no texting Howie to get yourself out of it. What's especially concerning about these kinds of streams is that while sports betting apps are at least targeting...
They know the owners of these companies, so they can just be like, hey, dude, I lost a bunch of money. Can you clear the debt? Like... Yeah.
The grown man. The majority audience for a lot of these streamers are teenagers and young adults. People whose brains have not finished developing yet. People who would have a harder time distinguishing between entertainment and real life and have less of an ability to evaluate risk compared to people much older than them. It is statistically proven that people who are exposed to gambling at a young age are more likely to develop problems with it later in life. So maybe don't do this. Is that too much to ask?
Now, there are a few different types of gambling streamers. There are the ones like Aiden Ross, who have been very transparent about the fact that money is the only thing that matters to them, and there's no line they would be unwilling to cross in pursuit of it. Then there's streamers like Steve Will Do It, who admitted in an interview with CoffeeZilla that the only reason he started taking these sponsorships was because he used to have a gambling problem, and it was a way for him to continue to gamble without having to use his own money. In other words, he knows from personal
Steve Will Do It's kind of a sad story. I feel like if you weren't around such terrible people, you might have done a little better. But yeah, now he seems pretty lost at this point.
Experience the harm a gambling addiction can cause, but he has no problem promoting that to other people as long as it's not his money they're losing. But then there's also plenty of streamers that don't seem to think they're doing anything wrong. They put their head in the sand and make excuses because the money's too good for them to turn down. Take Nick Merckx, for example. Nick gets pretty defensive when people question the fact that he spends 1 week out of every month spinning slots on kick.com. Oh yeah, man, sorry. Forgot a bunch of children watch my streams. Like, dude, you've spent the past 6 years streaming Fortnite and Call of Duty. If you don't think the majority of your audience is young men, I don't know what to tell you. And don't even get me started on Drake. I know a large portion of his audience is underage because those are the people he's trying to fuck.
So while obviously these websites who use decentralized currency and are based out of a small island country with laughably loose gambling restrictions in order to skirt federal regulations are mostly to blame for the damage they've caused, these celebrities and streamers who've helped popularize them are very much complicit. When you build an audience online, whether you like it or not, there is a parasocial element to it. There are people in your fan base who look up to you and trust you, and every time you sell something to them, you are leveraging that parasocial relationship in order to financially benefit. And I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect. I sell merch, I have sponsors, I just did an ad read like 3 minutes ago. But my God, I feel like the bare minimum with the sponsorship is, does this product actively hurt the people that use it? Yes? Then I'm not gonna do that. I get that.
Oh yeah? Then why were you hawking air up, man? That stuff smells.
Can sting to turn down a lot of money, and if the numbers people have floated around are accurate, it is a stupid amount of money. But for some of these people who could already live 10 full lifetimes without ever having to worry about bills ever again, when is it enough? It's just crazy to me. It's like, thank you to everyone who supports what I do. You've given me my dream job, this life of luxury I'm so lucky to have. And in return, I give to you a crippling addiction. Sorry, I wanted to buy a house in Mexico.
We got another place because you can't do it in America. You have to go somewhere else. So we went somewhere else and we got another place.
Call me dramatic, but I'm a little...
He went to Mexico, Trainwrecks went to Canada.
Concerned where this is all headed. People like to talk about iPad babies who are burning all their dopamine receptors before they even reach preschool. But what is a slot machine if not just a giant iPad? Scientifically engineered to be as mesmerizing as possible so you don't even realize what you're letting...
Is this real? Chat, is this real? Or is this staged? This can't be real. Look at the way they're slapping at the screen.
$1,000 in fast spins at $50 a spin. Look at that $194,000 grand. That thing is due. Oh. Well, that's $1,000.
Gambling can be addictive enough on its own even before you add in all this social pressure. The transition from casual gambler to full-blown addict can happen so gradually, a lot of people don't even realize it's happened to them until it's too late. And when everyone around you, from celebrities in commercials to all your favorite streamers, are just making it seem like it's no big deal, it's fun, everybody does it, can you truly recognize the seriousness of what you're getting yourself into? I think all we can really do for the time being is try to fight back against the normalization of gambling. So what do you say we all get together and call a timeout? What's that? They already tried that for hate.
We need to stop it.
So let's take this moment
to change the momentum
and call a timeout
on hate. Together. Together.
And it's not working, even though they got Shaq. Well, that's not good. That's kind of the only idea I had. Gambling is not new. For as long as there's been man, there's been the primal desire to bet it all on red. But what is new is the way technology has evolved to prey on these urges in the most efficient and targeted ways possible. Using AI to send push notifications at the precise moment they know they're most likely to be open.
Yeah, dude, it's totally okay for these companies to push notifications to your phone, use every little bit of data they have about you to get you addicted because it's your fault. Yeah, definitely. We should let these billion-dollar companies just run roughshod over us because Personal responsibility. Cool, man. Should let the water company poison us too. You should be smart enough not to drink poisonous water.
Using a constantly evolving algorithm to offer bets that
Try
are so
using your brain a
time-sensitive,
little.
you have to commit to it before you even have a chance to think about it. These apps didn't invent gambling addiction, they've just made it more accessible. You combine all of that with a system in which most people aren't paid nearly enough money for the amount of work that they do and might see gambling as one of the only ways out of that situation, only to end up exacerbating their problems, and you end up with the unmitigated economic disaster we're in now. Forgive me for using the C word, but we've stumbled into this stage of capitalism where every dollar must be profited by any means necessary, and foregoing any chance to do so would simply be seen as a missed opportunity. Advertisements in between the game? Not enough. Now they're a part of the game. A mini fridge in the hotel that I can store my leftovers in? No, we should be filling every square inch of that thing with $12 Coke cans that'll automatically charge your credit card even if you're just moving one out of the way. A YouTube outro that's just a few seconds of peaceful music and no call to action? You wish, bozo. Please go listen to the song I made with my friend Sam. I wrote the guitar for it and I think it's pretty good. Thanks for watching.
These are my top 10 mistakes that slot machine players make. Number one, the biggest mistake that slot players make is playing slot machines in the first place.
It's like, I don't understand like people who come in when we're talking about like a societal problem and go, it's just personal bullshit. It's like, dude, we're talking about how to handle things from a societal level. You can't do that by just telling people to act better. That's not how policy works. That's not how solving problems work. The reasons billionaires got there is because no one acts better. But yeah, that's my point, dude. Were you being sarcastic? Guys, stop trying to be sarcastic at a Twitch chat. It's silly. I'm not going to get it.